That's not a comic book. Now that's a comic book.
For Trade Talk this week, we're talking about Batman: The Last Arkham. This is written by Alan Grant with art by Norm Breyfogle. This has been something that I've had for over a year. I feel I bought it because I really wanted to read it. I was on an Arkham kick, and it kept getting put further and further down my stack of stuff to read. So this was the first 4 issues of the Shadow of the Bat title, which was another Bat book that was introduced. And Alan Grant has a foreword here where he talks about the generation of the idea. And they're like, okay, we want to do a Bat book. What are we going to call it? Shadow of the Bat. All right, so the focus then is going to be on things that are affected by Batman. The characters and places that Batman has an effect on. Which is a really cool premise, and I could really go for something like that again. But who do we start the series with? Well, the Joker, obviously, but we just used him, was kind of the thing going on at the time, so we just used him in a really big story. It would feel weird to start another book and it'd just oversaturate the character. And so someone came up with the idea of Arkham Asylum. Arkham Asylum is going to be the focus. And it is, and it kind of not introduces but uses a relatively new villain of the time. And so this is something that I bought mostly for the cover. This is one of those really iconic images of Batman, and there are things I really, really like Batman imagery-wise. The silhouette's always great. The Joker dressed up like Batman in any way, shape, or form is great. Batman in a straitjacket's one of my favorites. You give me some with Batman in a straitjacket on it, I'll read it. I don't care. I will certainly look at it. But the premise of this story is interesting in that Arkham Asylum was being rebuilt under the care of Jeremiah Arkham, who's now the official warden of it. And he is a behaviorist. He doesn't care about, in this he is. He doesn't care about what the patients want or what they feel or what they think. He cares about modifying their behavior. So he's very directly a behaviorist, which has been, pretty much debunked scientifically, but it's a fun thing to run with in a comic book. And so he's kind of, it's ethically shady ass shit at the very least, if not downright torture, the way he's treating his inmates. You got Scarecrow, and he's talking about what he fears and stuff. And he's got a phobia of birds, apparently. So they rig a projector, just project images of birds attacking Scarecrow until his behavior modifies. And he becomes not afraid of the birds and realizes that imposing fear on others is not okay. So yeah, it kind of gives you the premise of what Jeremiah Arkham's like in this. Jeremiah Arkham is one of the most inconsistently written Batman characters ever. Meanwhile, he's got a newer inmate, which is Victor Zsasz, who is completely deadly and you can't be around his ass because he will fucking murder you. But then there's the really shocking thing, which is the other new patient at Arkham, Batman, who has come to Arkham because he lost it one night working a case and killed a police officer who he felt wasn't taking the case seriously enough. And now he's locked up in Arkham with all the other inmates. And that's okay. So there's this case of this guy who's going around murdering people and posing the bodies like in Pleasant Family sit-downs, which is exactly Victor Zsasz's MO. But Victor Zsasz has been locked up in Arkham the whole time. How is this possible? And that's why Batman has infiltrated the asylum under the guise of being admitted forcefully by the police to try to figure out how Victor Zsasz is escaping and getting back to Arkham to kill people. that's pretty much the premise of the whole book, is just solving that mystery. Ultimately, it turns out it was a construction worker on the asylum who like carved out a secret tunnel and extorted money from the inmates for them to be able to use it. It's all well and good. I think the premiere scene is when Zaz kind of smooth talks Arkham into getting the inmates' respect by breaking Batman. He's like, well, if you could get Batman to really bend to your will, then yeah, all the inmates would really respect you and start, working very seriously on their therapy. It's a bit gimmicky. It's like I can't deny that part of that rubs me the wrong way and seems really obvious and gimmicky and like, oh, okay, come on, really, that's what's gonna work. At the same time, I really can't get enough of this image of Batman being forced into a room where all of his villains watch him have to fight Amygdala, and then the glass comes up and he's got to fight all of them. And it's all at the behest of Arkham. It's very gimmicky. It's almost like a video game boss level or something. And so I was a little like, really? That doesn't really work with Arkham's character. Ultimately, Batman kicks all their asses, which is kind of fun. He does it in a really good 2-page spread. And so Arkham feels kind of embarrassed by that and has to admit defeat to Zaz and says, you're not manipulating me to do something like that again. Ultimately, Batman, solves the mystery and says, Arkham, you're now on my shit list for what you did to me, and I'll be keeping a real close eye on you. So, I don't know, this was fun, it was fine. It's not a great Arkham story. It's really intense and violent and stuff, and that's kind of unique because like a lot of the Arkham books are pretty violent, but a lot of it happens off the page. This gives you a pretty good look at most of it, which I liked. But ultimately, this came out after Arkham Asylum, Serious House, and Serious Earth, and I got really excited about hearing about this existing because Grant did such great Arkham stories right around the No Man's Land time frame, and just really, really good, creepy, unsettling stuff. So in the Arkham story collection, I guess you'd call it, still think Arkham Asylum, Serious House, and Serious Earth is easily the best. This is above Arkham Asylum Living Hell and probably above Arkham Asylum Madness. But it's not Grant's best work on the book. Grant really did develop a great voice for Arkham Asylum. By the time you get to the stuff, is it called Come and See? I'm trying to remember the name of the story. I did a Trade Talk episode on the Batman 100-page Arkham Spectacular. Go read that, or go watch that. Go read that too, and you'll find the exact name of the particular story. But Grant developed a much better voice for Arkham, and like here you can see the groundwork of it being laid, but it's just that it's the groundwork. This isn't the good meaty stuff yet. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got on that. Well, yeah, I said it was going to be a short episode of Trade Talk. Norm Breyfogle's artwork is still amazing. It's very of the time, but in a good way, which is saying some of the 90s, or maybe late 80s still, I don't know. So, like, stuff like that's just cool. Like, again, the scene where Batman beats the shit out of all the villains inside Arkham Asylum is I feel like I've seen that a million times now. but it's just, I don't know, there's cool ass shit in here. Great, I like that. That's great. Jeremiah waking from a nightmare. There's shit like that I just really, really like. Where's it at? I just want to see the image of him standing over all the... Yeah, like, look at that. Like, him standing over Amygdala, looking so creepy. When Batman goes silhouette mode, I just love it the most. And he just beating the crap out of all the villains, and then you get the page turn, and it's like, it's not even a contest. You just put him in a room, and Batman's easily gonna win it. I like that. So yeah, great artwork though. Story doesn't hold up 100%. It's not the greatest thing, but it's also not bad. It's a fine read. I'm glad to have it in my collection because I really like Batman Arkham Asylum stories. So yeah, overall, enjoyable enough. That will do it for this episode of Trade Talk. Everyone, thank you very, very much for watching.
That's not a comic book. Now that's a comic book.